So, remember back like in, I guess it was the late 90s? When,
yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, back in the late 90s. I was in the Navy back then, but I used to come to visit on the weekends.
Congratulations. Oh, sorry.
I used to come visit on the weekends, and we'd go out like to the titty bar or whatever, just kind of going out.
Can we call it exotic dance club?
I'm sorry, a gentleman's club.
There you go.
And we go out and hang out. I don't even think we were old enough to drink at this time, which we weren't. So we must have been 18, 19 years old. And you had a paper route too that you were doing. Remember all that?
Yes, I did. And I don't even think that was late 90s. I mean, I was 18 in 94, so probably this was like, well, I guess 96, 97. I guess you consider that late 90s. Yeah, so 96, 97, yeah.
And then, so we'd go out to the gentleman's club, and then we'd stay there till super late until it was time to, and then basically we'd stay out until it was time to do your paper round.
Yes.
So we'd go meet up and like roll the papers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then I remember one time we'd gone out, so I went with you to go on the route, but I was like extremely exhausted and tired and all that. And I remember I'd fallen asleep in your car while you were just continuing doing the paper route.
Because I had a route that most of it you didn't throw from a car. It was mostly condos on the beach, so I had to get out with a bag and go up the elevator to the top floor and then walk all down the flights, dropping the papers off.
Yeah, and I remember one time I was asleep and I kind of woke up and I looked at you had thrown down like this stuffed animal, like this rabbit, like right on my lap, coming back from like an apartment complex you'd just thrown at, and then I look down and I'm like, where did you get that? And you're like, what? And I'm like, this rabbit. This is like a flopsy bunny kind of a thing, It's like this floppy rabbit stuffed animal, and like thrown on my lap. I was like, what did you like find this on the floor? And he just kind of threw it like, here, this is for you, buddy. I'm like, I was like, where did you get that? And you're like, what? I was like, the rabbit. You're like, what are you talking about? and then I kind of woke up a little bit more and looked down, and it was your bag from the papers.
It was just an empty bag. That's all it was.
It's just empty. For some reason, half asleep, it just looked like this floppy bunny. Maybe the way it was laid on my lap or something.
Did you? I remember you. The only part of this I remember is you saying, "Where did you get that?" It's like, what? What are you talking about? It's hilarious.
It's so funny. It's funny because like we weren't under the influence of anything at all except just no sleep, and that was it. I was just so tired. We were
funny. Under the influence of fatigue.
You're listening to Your 40. Now what? Getting closer to early bird dinners, but still not quite ready to grow up. So hike up your pants, sip your latte, and get ready for the show. And now, the hosts of Your 40, Now What? Tach and Ron.
All right, well, welcome everybody to another episode of Your 40, Now What? I am Ron.
And I am Tach.
And today we'll have some more delightful subjects for you. I don't think anything too serious.
No,
mostly a bunch of fun stuff.
Day. It's a light day.
No, yeah, it's a light day. No death or major illness to discuss today.
No, not today. But
sorry
recently
about that.
Recently, we just had Easter. Did you have a good Easter?
I did. I went to Aquatica. And that's in Orlando. It's a SeaWorld water park for those who don't know.
I've never been there, but so they have like water slides that go right into the tank of Shamu or what?
Right into his mouth.
Right into his mouth. Just like a real trainer.
Now, the only aquatic life you see there is a couple of like porpoises that look like orcas. They're black and white. They're really cool looking.
They're people too. Come on now. There's no need to judge and like
Jesus. And there's a slide that goes through it and it's clear and they make it look like you can just see them, but it's so cloudy you can't see shit and you're going so fast anyway. Wouldn't matter. But beyond that, there's really no wildlife there. It's just a water park. It's literally right across the street from SeaWorld.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I didn't have my kids this year for Easter, so Easter is just one of those things. If I have them, great. If not, then their mom has them for it. There's nothing we really work out with Easter. Same with like Valentine's Day. But this year, I sent my kids like texts first thing Sunday morning, saying Happy Easter, And then my son had texted back saying that he didn't get anything. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I was like, what do I say to that,
Well, does he still believe in Santa Claus?
I don't. I've never sat him down and said that there's no such thing, but I think he's at that point. What I've noticed usually is what kids do is that they figure out on their own or through friends or whatever, and then they still keep it going for the parents.
Yeah.
I've noticed it's about a year or so they let it keep going. So when you finally tell them, they're like, yeah, we've known for like since last year, but we know it's fun for you, Mom and Dad, so
I guess I have to agree because I still don't know that whether my daughter believes in Santa Claus or not. So we're still keeping up this facade. She might have stopped believing like 3 years ago. I have no idea.
Yeah, I would definitely just sit him down because it's less stress too. So I kind of felt bad. I was like, and then so his sister texted me, oh, Happy Easter. And I was like, and I said, did your mom really not get you guys anything? And then, of course, she was like, I don't know. I haven't been home. So, because she was like, stays at her boyfriend's house. And she's like, but I don't think she did just because of money and stuff like that. And she thinks that my son is too old. And he also has a little brother that she has that my ex had with her current boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And the other one's too young. So she just didn't bother with it. And I was like, okay, I get the money issue thing. I got that. But I mean, the only thing that what bothers me a little bit about is not sitting him down and talking to him and saying, look, here's the truth on Easter, the Easter bunny and blah, blah, blah. And money is really tight right now. So you're probably not going to get anything. And I just want you to know, so not to expect it and stuff like that, and I hope you understand, kind of a thing, which that conversation never happened with him. So he was really upset that there was no Easter basket on Easter morning, and there wasn't, and I felt bad for him. And so I texted his mom, actually she had texted me, and so I just kind of brought it up, and he was like, she actually texted me complaining that he was like, where's my Easter stuff, and so she took that as like him being like
selfish,
selfish,
greedy,
like,
what have you.
Yeah. So I was like, well, you have to get it. Like, he's gotten something every Easter, and when one Easter nothing happens, of course he's going to ask questions, unless you sat him down and talked to him and explained, of course he's going to ask. And so
this is what I got from the Easter bunny.
Oh, nice.
Little chocolate bunny here, buddy.
Little footballs.
Laces out.
So, and she's like, well, I didn't get anything for them last year. I was like, well, I got you, but I had them on Easter last year, and I did get them stuff, I don't care if you think he's too old. I got his sister's baskets last year, and last year they were 17. So, I mean, I still think that a little something would be good. I mean, I don't know. So now that I'm done with the story, this is not a bitch session about my ex or anything. This is just more of like
because it kind of sounds. Have you said any of this to your ex yet?
No, I get it. Like if you can't afford it, or if you don't believe that this should happen, then sit them down and talk to them. I haven't gotten anything from my kids in several Valentine's Day, mostly because I don't have them on Valentine's Days. And do
they still believe in Valentine? I'm just kidding. Do they believe in Cupid, or do they know that Cupid doesn't exist?
Yeah. And if I was to have them on a Valentine's Day, I would probably say, look, I'm not really, probably you won't get anything, because Valentine's Day is really more for either little kids or your significant other, really. It's not really, so I probably wouldn't get anything for them anymore anyway, but I would sit them down and explain that to them, And same with Easter. But Easter, if I had them, I would still get them stuff. Even if my son was 15, I would probably still get him something for Easter, even if it's just like a little bit of chocolate or something like that, But I don't know. What are your thoughts? I feel like I'm babbling.
No, I got what you're saying there. So I have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. 12-year-old will be 13 here shortly. The 16-year-old, I'm pretty sure, I don't know. Me and my wife both told him there was no Santa Claus without speaking to each other about it. Within 5 days, we never discussed it. We never told each other, hey, it's time. We never, for some reason, somehow, some way, we both discussed it. I think she did it first, and then a few days later, I did it. Because we could just tell Logan was getting, he's a smart kid. He's kind of mature that way, and we just figured this is probably time to tell him. But mostly, I think we were more nervous that he was going to spill the beans to his little sister, who was still of a good age. She was 8 at the time or something. And I think we were both thinking the same thing without saying. It was so weird. We were both on the same page that way. And then all of a sudden, I tell her, hey, I told Logan there's no Santa Claus. And she's like, you did? I did too. I was like, when? She's like, 5 days ago. I'm like, that's so weird. How did we both think to do that at the same time? But
wouldn't that kind of bother you that she did it before you without even discussing it with you? I mean, I get that you did it too without discussing it. But.
No, it doesn't bother me because I did the same thing she did. I think we were both. I just felt like she felt like I was nervous to do it because you don't know. Is this going to? Is he going to be like, oh yeah, I kind of knew, which that's how he was. Is he going to be like, what?
You lied to me for so long. I can't trust anything.
What about all the presents? You don't know what his reaction is going to be. So it's a tough conversation kind of to have. And she, I was kind of going out there saying, I'm going to take this one for the team. She was kind of trying to take this one for the team. It was pretty hilarious, actually. And so it didn't bother me at all. But both of our intentions were the same. We don't want my our daughter to know yet that there's no Santa Claus because she was still definitely young enough. We want her to enjoy that. We figured we've only got a couple years left. Well, that was 5 years ago. And now, we're still keeping the Easter. We got Easter baskets for the kids. Yeah, we just had a little bit of candy in them and stuff. There wasn't there wasn't any major things in there. There was no presents or anything. It was like a Pez dispenser, a chocolate bunny, and a couple little chocolate bars. They were happy with that.
Yeah,
my kids aren't big candy kids anyway. So we did that, and then. We're just kind of trying to figure out, okay, we've been talking about, do we think Chelsea still believes in Santa Claus? Because for whatever reason, now we don't have another little child to protect in this case. So we can just keep it going with her as long as she believes. But on the other hand, she's 12, about to be 13. You got to figure there is very few kids in her class or in her school that she goes to school with that believe. You got to figure somebody may have said something by now. Maybe she's just ignored it thinking, these people are just full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. Not that she said shit, but that'll actually be something we'll talk about later on in the show. A little tease. So right now we're at a situation where my son doesn't believe. He hasn't believed in years, and he pretty much knew before we told him. We have no idea where my daughter's at with this right now. Not sure. But I get what you're saying. If all of a sudden... we decided this Easter that we weren't going to give them anything, then we were going to need to have a conversation with our daughter, just in case she was still believing and expect. Because to me, the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus kind of go hand in hand in the fact that you're believing in that fictional person that comes into your house and brings you things on a holiday. Yes, it's much less extravagant on Easter. A little bit of candy versus a bunch of presents, but it's the same concept. If there's no Easter Bunny, there's no Santa Claus, and vice versa, most likely.
Right.
So I get exactly what you're saying. I guess it's probably time me and my wife had a conversation about the whole Santa Claus Easter Bunny thing, and I have a feeling she's going to be like, yeah, I knew that. And it's just been, like you said, keeping it going for us or keeping it going because she still wants the chocolate and the presents. Well, I think likely that's the case.
She might think that all presents will cease after that. Yeah,
it's very possible. Very possible.
So, okay, I have a story for you.
This is yes, I know this story. Oh God, I love it. I love this story, but make sure you set it up right, man. Talk about your stress of every year of the Christmas stuff.
Yes, okay.
Don't chintz on the details.
This was my first Christmas dealing with kids. Okay, so backstory real quickly. I have twin girls. They actually they're 18 now, but they're not biologically mine, so they're my ex's. But then their mother and I had a son together, so I have my son. And so this was before he was born. And so this is my first year as being a quote dad.
How old were the girls?
They were, I think probably second grade, first grade, second grade, something like that.
So definitely still in the Santa Claus world.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, second grade, and so it was so stressful on Christmas Eve because these girls, every single night, they would get up in the middle of the night, several times a night.
Every night or just like Christmas night? Like Christmas
No,
night?
every night.
Every night, okay.
Every night. They'd always get up. They'd always come out or, what are you doing up? Like, I need a drink of water. I'm like, get your water and go back to bed. Or they would sneak out. And the way the apartment we were living in at the time was set up, we had this large chair in front of like the doorway that goes back to their room. So the girls would come out and lay on the floor behind the chair and watch TV, whatever it is that we were watching. And we just happened to catch them a couple times because either they make a noise or be walking up, going to the kitchen, and you see them going, "What are you? Go to bed!" Like this is them every single night. This happened, and we got to the point where we even set up a camera one night.
It's like some paranormal activity shit.
Well, we'd set up a camera one night, and it was like a baby monitor or something, just to watch and see what it is that they're doing in the night. And we sat there and watched them. Just sit in the bed. One girl was playing with a stuffed animal for hours, just up and just like doing nothing, just playing.
Is this on school nights too?
Yeah. It didn't matter. Just every night they were like this. It would sneak out or come, So anyway, so now it's Christmas Eve. I know they're going to be up, but you can't put the presents out too early and then just go, let's go to bed, at 10 o'clock because they'll come out at 11 and go, Santa came. And what are you going to tell a kid? Go back to bed till the morning? No, you can't tell a kid that. And I don't want to be up for the next several hours, messing with presents and shit like that when it's not even midnight yet, So my idea was to let's stay up as late as possible, and then put them out and then go to bed. That way, if they get up as soon as I go to bed, it's still kind of early in the morning or whatever, and I'll just take a nap sometime during Christmas if I need to sleep. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay up all night. I told their mother, you can go to bed. I'm just going to stay up as late as possible and then set it up and then come to bed. Because I figured by 3 or 4 in the morning, they're asleep, and they're probably not going to get up till maybe 6 or something like that, So here it is now. It's after midnight. Now it's after 1, and it's after 2, and I'm like, I'm getting so tired, like I can barely stay awake on the couch. And what I had done is I took the presents out just so I don't have to keep walking back and forth, especially if their mother was already asleep in the bedroom. I didn't want to have to go in and out of there, waking her up. So I already brought them all out to this chair, and they're just covered up with a blanket in case they walked out or whatever.
Were they walking out a bunch of times that night?
I think I did it once or twice or something like that.
Okay, but you knew you had to wait them out regardless.
Yeah.
Now, did you try the whole method of if you're out of the bedroom and awake when Santa comes, he'll pass by the house? Did you try this threatening method?
He knows when you're awake. He's not going to come by.
He won't come by, and then he'll just miss you all together, and you won't get presents. You tried to threaten them with this?
Yeah.
Didn't work? Guess?
So, well, I think it did eventually. So now it's getting 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm so tired and fall asleep on the couch. So I set my alarm to go off like at 4:30 or something like that, 5. Somewhere it was pretty early to where I didn't think they'd be up yet, and to where I could still set it up and then go to bed. So I set the alarm. I go to sleep on the couch. I want to sleep on the couch, so that way I'd be up and just get up and do it and then go to bed. So then now it cut to, I fell asleep. It's a little after 6. And the girls wake me up going, Tach. Back then it was Tach. I wasn't Daddy. Tach. I'm like, what? I was like, you need to go back to bed. Like, Santa didn't come. I was like, what do you mean? Like, Santa didn't come. I was like, what time is it? Like, it was like 6:30 or something like that. My alarm did not go off. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm the worst parent ever. I was like, holy shit. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? I was like, well, maybe he hasn't come yet. And, and the sun's already starting to come up. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because Santa's like a vampire. He melts in the in the sunlight.
So I was like, well, maybe he hasn't come by yet, or maybe he knew you guys were up or something. I was like, go back to bed. And they're like, okay. And they did not even see the stuff covered up in the chair, So then I sent them back to bed, and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm the worst parent ever. Holy shit. I failed. It's my first Christmas, and I failed, And I'm like, oh, my God.
Oh, may I ask you, where was your wife during this time?
She was asleep in the bedroom. She hadn't been up yet.
Okay. Second worst parent ever. But go ahead.
So,
I was talking about you.
Before. This is my first year. She should be coaching me through this.
I am coaching you through this. You're not the worst parent ever. Go ahead. That's the only point I'll make. Continue.
No, I meant like she should have been coaching me through this.
Yeah. She wasn't much help, was she?
Yeah. So, but I figured I got this. I was trying to be the man. Like, no, honey, I'll handle this. You can get some sleep.
Don't make excuses
she was
for her,
pregnant,
but go ahead.
She was pregnant, So she was like 6 months pregnant at this time. So
okay.
So the kids went to bed, and I had to go to the bathroom, so I went into the bedroom, and I'm like, oh my God, I woke her up. I was like, holy shit, like this happened, and I'm the worst person ever. And I was like, okay, well, let me think of this. So as soon as they went to bed, I uncovered the presents, and I went to the bathroom, and I came out. I might have uncovered them after I came out. And so I was like, okay, let me wait a minute. And then I went into the bedroom, and I was like, I knocked on the door, and I was like, girls? And they're like, yeah. I was like, the weirdest thing happened. Like, you girls went back to bed. I went to the bathroom, and then, well, come take a look, And then so they're like, Santa came. And I was like, maybe he didn't come because I was asleep on the couch. Maybe that's what it was. And they're like, that was probably it. Silly you. I'm like, silly me.
Silly me.
Yeah. And so
nice.
It worked, and I saved the day, luckily. And oh my God, it's the worst feeling in the world to hear Santa didn't come. It's just like, oh my God.
Did you ever, now that they don't believe in Santa Claus, I'm assuming they're 18, they don't believe in Santa Claus anymore.
Yes.
Did you ever tell them that story?
I may have. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I remember the year that we had finally told them, like, look, because it was just after Christmas, and then so we decided, hey, I think we should tell them. Yeah, let's tell them. So we sat them down. We're like, okay, so we kind of made them guess a little bit. We didn't just say, okay, so there's no such thing as Santa. So we're like, so we have something to tell you about Christmas and Santa and the Easter Bunny. They're like, okay, what? And so we just kind of made them guess, and they're like, so you guys are really Santa Claus? We're like, yes. And they kind of looked at each other like, we already knew. We're like, since when? It's like, since before last Christmas. We're like, why didn't you tell us?
What would have been hilarious if they had said since kindergarten, and that whole thing you went through was for absolutely nothing whatsoever.
Yeah, they said they figured it all out when they found like Christmas presents hidden somewhere, and then they got them that Christmas. So
I understood. It's a wrapping paper situation. That's why we have to be careful of the wrapping paper, because you got this. Well, here's the thing. If I may tell my own little quick, not really story.
No, we don't have time. All right, so let's take it. No, I'm just kidding.
So let's take a break. Screw your story, Ron. When I was a kid, presents from Santa Claus weren't wrapped, and presents from parents were.
That's how my ex did it too. So I had to carry that on.
Yes, that's what I would have liked to have carried on. Because why? Because any presents you really couldn't wrap, didn't want to wrap, just cut your wrapping down right. Like 40% at least. You know what I mean?
It was nice for
Santa Claus
days.
rabbits weren't wrapped. But this is not how my wife had it as a child. So guess what? All the Santa Claus presents had to be wrapped, but you had to wrap in special Santa Claus paper. So every year she usually wraps 90% of the presents. And I look at her and said, this is the bed you made, my love. Sorry. You wanted the Santa Claus. You had a chance to start it where the Santa Claus presents didn't have to be wrapped. But I'll give her credit. She's never one time said, I should have listened to you. And now it's too late. Never did that.
Well, just because she never said it didn't mean she didn't think it.
This is perhaps true. Maybe while she was wrapping all those presents. Damn it, I should have just wrapped the Santa Claus presents.
I guarantee.
But I will encourage my children when they have children, assuming that they will do one day. Okay, now there's a tradition I had as a kid. I'm going to let you in on it now before it's too late. Don't wrap the Santa Claus presents. Keep that going. You'll save yourself a ton of anguish and aggravation.
Yes.
But then on the other hand, I think Some people like wrapping the presents. They enjoy that process, and my wife may be one of those. I am not one of those.
I'm not either.
I
It's
hate
cool to do
wrapping.
it for a few, but after you wrapped like for the past hour, you're just done. And I'm like, I don't want to wrap anymore.
The two people I know that like wrapping the most, my wife and Eminem. Besides that, I don't really know anyone else that likes to do it. That was a really stupid joke. Sorry.
It wasn't expected though. It was funny.
All right. Well, that's all I've got to say about that.
All right. Well, let's take a break. That was a long segment. And when we come back, we're gonna fucking talk about some fucking shit and fuck. Damn.
Nice. Okay, we'll do.
All right. We'll be back.
Infinite Points, blending the exotic and traditional art of fire performing with a modern and technical flair.
If you're planning an event and want your guests to have a visually stunning and memorable experience, bring the performance from Infinite Points to your venue.
It's scary, it's exciting, and it's certain to put you on the edge of your seat. This is truly fire performing at its finest. If fire spinning is too hot for your venue, they also perform with full LED props still bright enough to shine at your event.
If you want to get a hold of them, email them at booking@infinitepointsperforming.com or visit them online at www.infinitepointsperforming.com.
The performers at Infinite Points are professional and always encourage and adhere to safety. While what they do is amazing, they always remind you, don't try this at home.
And welcome back to your 40 Now What? That was the longest break ever, Ron.
I'm 44 now.
44. No, you're not.
I'm still old and fat, if anybody was wondering. Sorry, girls.
Sorry, ladies, I'm taken.
Sorry, ladies. I'm taken,
I'm
and
40
you wouldn't want
plus.
me anyway.
40 plus and overweight. Sorry, ladies. So here's an interesting topic that you actually brought up. Kids and cussing. Okay, so like, what age is an acceptable age to kind of allow that, do you think?
18 is the acceptable age. But damn it if it doesn't happen sooner than that.
Right. Well, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, continue on. You sound like you had a question in there.
Okay, well, I have questions, I have comments, I have stories, I have tons to talk about on this topic. I don't know what you want to start with.
Oh, no, I just wanted to bring it up because of my daughter, she's 12. Mm-hmm. Never heard her say a curse word ever, and she is so anti-cursing. She won't say, even if we try and bait her into it, just say shit. She will not do it.
It's like something you do with like your nephew when you're like a teenager. Hey, say shit, and the little 3-year-old goes shit, and you're like, ha.
Exactly.
Okay, don't say that
You
around
can't
mommy.
even get her to, and even though I'll try just to see if she'll do it, because she won't. And it's just funny. That's the reason I do it. If I thought she'd actually do it, I wouldn't try and get her to. My son, on the other hand,
Yeah.
brother, I hear him on the computer when, especially if he thinks we're not around, if it's like late at night or something. Oh, not on a school night, by the way, late at night or whatever, and I can hear him just letting it fly, man. Letting it fly. And it bothers the hell out of me. I hate it. I don't like hearing my child. He's 16 years old, but he's still my child. Curse.
Baby.
It just sounds like, it makes me feel like a bad parent. My son is saying curse words, but I know they're all saying curse words, and I'm pretty sure I was saying curse words at his age.
Yeah, that was my next question. Like, what age were you when you were cussing?
Fuck, I don't remember.
I was very young.
I gotta say, I feel like I was letting him fly on a regular basis. Probably my son's age, like 15, 16. Probably younger than that. But I didn't realize how bad it sounds in front of adults. Like, when you're an adult, you don't want to hear 15, 16-year-old kids cursing. It just doesn't sound good. I guess it's some kind of cultural perception, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But man, two things I don't want to sit there and do with my son at age 16, and that's say curse words with them and smoke weed. It's just not going to happen until we're 18.
You see those as equals, huh?
No, I'm not smoking weed with my son.
I know. I'm
just need to smoke his own weed, damn it. Can't have mine.
He wants to, he's buying.
Just kidding. I don't smoke weed, everybody. I eat it. But anyway, go ahead. Tach, what have you got?
Well, okay, so my girl started like letting it slip here and there, you know. Their mother always allowed them to do it, like if it was like if they were singing along with the song and the song cussed, then she was like, well, they're just singing the song, I just let them do it, which I wasn't for, but whatever, what am I gonna do? You know, the girls weren't biologically mine at the time when, you know, I mean, they're still not, but I mean, you know, when they were younger,
somehow magically they became biologically yours. That's a whole other segment.
Yeah, so so I didn't necessarily 100% agree with it, but I was like, well, whatever. I don't think it's a good idea, but, you know, you can't stop it now. And so, but then as they got a little older, it would slip out every once in a while. By the time they got to be around 16, 17, I was just like, whatever. I would let like dams and hells and maybe even a shit fly here and there. But if they said fuck, I'd be like, whoa, watch yourself.
I feel like that's his favorite word, too. That's what's driving me crazy.
It's a lot of people's favorite word.
I don't like it. It bothers me so much. But I know I did it too, so why does it bother me so much?
Right. So, like, then once they get a little, like, 16, 17, even now at 18, like, I don't mind if it's just me and them hanging around and they want fuck coming out of every other word out of their mouth, whatever. I just don't want them doing it around their brother, who's only 10, you know. Because, you know, not that he hasn't heard those words. You know he's heard all the words. But I don't want him to get the impression that, well, how come they can do it but I can't, you know. And, now it's easy to say now because, well, they're adults now and you're not, so that's why. But when they were teenagers before, you know, I was like, you know, I even told them a billion times, you can cuss around me, but not around your brother. You know, you can say damn or hell maybe, but nothing more than that. Funny story, a few weeks ago, I was talking to my son and he was talking about something. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but he described something. He was telling a story and talking quickly, and then he just described something large by using the phrase big ass. It was a big ass something or other. And then he like stopped himself, and I was like, did you just say big ass?
That's hilarious.
Like it was a big ass ship or something like that, you know? And I was like, did you say it's a big ass ship? And he goes, yeah. I was like, that came out pretty smooth there, buddy.
That's awesome. Dude, I love that he said that. That's just like I'm proud of the kid.
You know, and I'm proud that he admitted it immediately. Yeah, I did, or he didn't try to cover it up and lie. No, I didn't say it, you know,
imagining things, Dad.
He's like, I didn't mean to, and I was like, but that came out pretty easily. Like that just slipped right out. Like you use that word a lot. I'm betting. No, I don't. I was like, it came out really easily. Like you didn't even think about it.
It sounded just natural, like organic.
Yeah. And so I didn't get mad at him or he didn't get in trouble or anything. I just kind of laughed about it. I was like, you need to watch yourself there, buddy. So
how old is he again? I'm sorry, 11?
He's 10.
10. Okay, I always forget how old he is.
So I never cussed around my kids. As the girls got older, I started doing it more and more. I still kind of hold back talking to the girls. Like I was talking with my daughters last night, and it depends on what the conversation is about, whether I'll cuss or not. My girls don't even care anymore. Fuck is every third word out of their mouth now when they're talking to me.
I know that's how my son would be if we let him. I can't. I just can't.
Well, it's not literally every third word, but you know they'll use fuck in front of me all the time. And if it's just me and them, it's fine. I don't say anything. It's fine. They're 18 now, whatever. And then I've even caught myself using fuck talking to just the girls, you know, and. Because, you know, they're adults now, so I'm going to start treating them a little bit more like adults. So, you know, I'll say something is fucking bullshit to them or whatever. I was like, it's fucking bullshit or whatever, this and that. And I was talking to my daughter on the phone last night. She was complaining about her boyfriend. And I was like, you know, so it kind of came up a couple times, the words, you know. And what's up?
Well, you see, I have a little pen and paper here, right, buddy?
Oh, you're writing instead of interrupting.
No, I'm not writing anything. I'm gonna write something.
Aside from hearing clicking, and stuff
We're gonna,
microphone.
I'm gonna have actually a funny bit for the show. But if you want to be a dick about it, maybe I won't do it.
Whoa, what happened?
Just kidding, dude.
This went south fast.
Oh no, just kidding. I wanted to create a little cursing chart. Let's make a little chart of the curse words and what age we find them. We'll find them acceptable. So here we're gonna write them all down: ass, shit, fuck. Damn.
Bitch.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Bitch. Should we do bitch and son of a bitch as separate words or the same?
Same.
Okay, bitch / son of a.
Yep.
I won't even say it out loud, but I'll spell it. See you next Tuesday.
What? See you next. I've never heard that.
Oh, you never heard that? Okay, sorry. Because I don't like that word at all. So I've got ass, shit, fuck, damn, bitch.
I don't mind that
/
word.
son of a. See you next Tuesday. Hell.
See you next Tuesday is a great word to use for comedy.
And what about pussy?
I don't think I've ever heard my kids say that word, but I'm assuming if I did or if I ever used it in front of them, it would be not to describe the female anatomy for sure.
Okay, gotcha. What about...
It would be more of like calling somebody a pussy.
Yeah, that also counts. That's like cursing. What about dick or cock?
Oh my God.
Do we think these words are the same word, or do they bear separate
different words for sure?
They're different. Yeah, I think they're separate and might even be under different age groups.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So any other words? We've got ass, shit, fuck, damn, bitch / son of a. See you next Tuesday. Hell, pussy, dick, cock.
Is that what we got?
We're definitely putting the stretching the limits of the explicit rating on this segment, aren't we? So what do we got? I think we'll just start at the bottom here.
Okay.
Are there any other words? Did we miss something?
I'm sure there are. I mean, there's. I don't know. I think this is good for the purposes of this.
Okay, if you think of something else I missed, let me know. Okay, let's just start with the basics. Damn and hell. Hell is probably the bottom, right?
I think damn and hell are probably on the same level. I would say that's probably acceptable around 15.
Whoa, what? I mean, 14? Your son's 10. He's saying big ass. I mean, we're going 14.
What is this? What is this list supposed to be? What we're allowing? What age we allow it?
Okay, what would be fine socially acceptable in general? Me, I can't stand any cursing until they're 18, although I know it happens. But
right.
Like if we heard a 13-year-old say hell, would it make us cringe?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm separating hell and damn. Okay. I'm going hell at 13. What about damn?
14?
Okay, I like it. We're going to make this easier. What about bitch or son of a bitch?
15?
Okay. What about ass?
I'd probably bring that down to like 13, 14.
Okay.
I mean, priests say ass. Priests say hell.
Yeah, but
I think some priests even say shit
under
too,
different circumstances. Okay, what about shit? I think this brings into the next category, shit.
Shit is like your ultimate cuss word, especially starting out. That's like there's no arguing that shit is a bad word. Like you can get away with hell and damn because they're in the Bible.
And ass, and even son of a bitch.
And ass
bitch.
is even in the Bible.
Because all these words mean other things.
So is cock. Cock's in the Bible.
Are you talking about like chickens?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
But ass, damn, hell, those are all in the Bible, so you can get away with saying all that.
So shit. 16,
shit is
17?
like your ultimate cuss word, huh?
16, 17? Are there
15,
any
16,
words here left?
Let's say 16.
Okay, so we're going to give the 16-year-old shit. I'm going to give him shit. I give my 16-year-old shit every day about school. Okay. Okay, we've got...
what was the purpose of this list? It's so funny because we're like, well, happy birthday, you're 16. These are the words you're now allowed to say.
Exactly. We're going to hand them out cards each year. Okay, here's the new...
Oh, I get shit this year?
Here's the updated list of your curse words.
What did your dad get you for your birthday? He gave me shit. Like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah.
Like I can say shit now.
I can say shit. So we've got fuck, pussy, dick, cocks, see you next Tuesday. So let's go with dick.
Dick. Okay,
And
how's it
mostly,
used in the
we're not
sentence?
referring to a male anatomy, but probably calling someone one.
Okay, that's probably more of like a 16, 17.
Okay, so let's go 17. So someone calling somebody a dick. All right, what about calling someone a pussy? I say 16, 17 on that, right? Say 17? Maybe 16.
No, I would even actually go 18 plus on that one.
I think you and I's impression of calling someone a pussy is just on different levels, I believe.
We have different views on pussy?
Yeah. One of us has definitely seen a lot more than the other. Okay. But anyway, so you feel 18 on pussy, huh?
I mean,
This might be
17.
our best segment ever, by the way. I got to just go with it. Just while we're in the moment here. I'm really feeling this. By the way, none of this was premeditated, at least not this part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you won 18 for calling someone a pussy. Okay, what about referring to a woman's anatomy as?
Oh, that's 18 plus. Guarantee it. Calling somebody pussy, I'll give you 17 on
Okay,
that
so
one.
17 in, what would we call that?
I don't want to hear my daughters or even
So
my son
17
referring
as an
to
adjective.
female anatomy.
Right? 17 is an
Yes.
adjective.
Yes.
In 18 plus is a noun. Okay, sounds good. This is awesome. Okay, we still have some biggies here. We have cock, that's big. We have fuck.
Now, how is that used in a sentence? Once again, adjective or
Oh,
noun?
yes, again. So calling, so the male anatomy, the noun versus
18
the
plus.
adjective. I feel like it's all 18 plus on that word.
I don't want my daughters telling me about cock and pussy, like referring to it as nouns. Like I don't ever want to hear that ever.
But I feel I feel like even calling someone a cock is 18 plus territory.
Same with see you next Tuesday. That's
See you next
18
Tuesday.
plus.
To me, I won't give that. I'm never giving that card out. It's a horrible word.
Well, it's an 18 plus word
an
because
18
not there's 20,
Plus,
30,
plus,
40, 50
plus.
year olds that
I'm
don't
gonna put
even
that.
use
Use at your own risk.
that word. Use sparingly.
Yeah, yeah. Use
Use
at
in
your own risk
moderation.
/ sparingly.
Use in moderation.
Okay, I like this.
I think it's funny because it's a lot of comics will use it too because it's so taboo and it's off-putting and makes people uncomfortable, which makes it more funny. I think so. I like using it everyone. I don't use it a lot.
Louis
but
C.K. uses that word, and effectively though, it doesn't make me cringe when he says it. But I hate the word normally.
Well, Louis C.K. gets away with using a lot of words.
That's
that we're
true.
allowed
He also
to
uses
use.
the N word,
But just the
that's a
way
word I
he
would
uses
never
it,
use.
he's just so damn charming. He gets away with it.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
It's like
All right, so we have
like,
the.
Jim Jeffries, the comedian there, like he's Australian, so that's like their favorite word over there in Australia. And he even does a whole bit about it, talking about how you guys cringe at that word, whereas it's everyday language over in Australia.
Yes, I was listening to, believe it or not, because, I'm a Dolphins fan, did Dolphins podcast. There's an English Dolphins podcast called Miami Pod.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard them use that word on several occasions in this podcast. And I'm just like, oh my God, you do know that most of the people listen to you are Americans and that's like the worst word you could be using.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's funny.
Okay. I think it's a horrible word. But, okay. But apparently you think pussy is a horrible word, and I don't. I think it's a great word.
No, I think pussy is fantastic.
Yeah, no. You're speaking of the actual subject. I'm talking about the word itself.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
sorry. I don't think it's that. I just don't, because I'm thinking of my children. That's all I'm thinking of. I don't want to hear my daughters say pussy, like as a noun.
Yeah,
So-
understood. Okay, and then we have the F word, good old fuck. I figure
is
that's
just
an 18
great.
plus word.
Yeah, it's an 18 plus word.
Yeah, okay. All right, so here's what we've got, just so we can recap.
Okay.
We've got hell at 13, damn at 14, bitch or son of a bitch at 15. We're giving them shit at 16. All of that. All right, at 17, we've got pussy as an adjective and dick as an adjective.
Right.
Right, and then at 18 plus, we have fuck. We have see you next Tuesday. But we say that use it in moderation, very sparingly, at your own risk.
Yeah.
We have pussy as a noun, and we have cock as a noun or an adjective.
Oh, God.
So there you go. That's, I hope we didn't
I'm
leave
going to say
anything
the
out.
noun of cock and pussy use it however way you want. Just only in front of your parents is an adjective, not a noun in front of your parents.
Just because that'll make you cringe, especially if you have little girls, though.
Yeah.
Like if your son came to you, he was 18, he's like, Dad, I got some pussy last night. Can I say that as creepy as possible, too? I said that so ridiculously creepy. So if he said that to you, you wouldn't be like, "Oh my God, son, that's disgusting. Get away!" You'd be like, "Yeah, boy, that's my man." Did you put on the hat, the Jimmy hat?
I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I mean,
well,
I've joked around with my daughters before. Okay, I like to be funny with my daughters, and sometimes uncomfortable jokes are funny. Because this one time my daughter was talking, she's like, this is a couple of years ago, my daughter comes to me, she's like, give me a high five, Dad, give me a high five. I was like, why? She's like, you'd be proud of me, give me a high five. I'm like, I'm not giving you a high five until you tell me why. Just give me a high five. I was like, no, because I don't want you to say to me, I got laid last night.
I've got the worst things going through my head right now too. I want to say so bad.
Yeah, like that's why I was like, I don't want you to go give me a high five, and then I give you a high five, and then you tell me that you got laid last night or something like that.
My first dick.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And then she's like, oh, that's not it. That's gross, Dad. I'm like, I'm just saying, I don't want to give you a high five until I know what it is. She's like, just give me a high five. You'd be proud of me. Trust me. I was like, all right, fine. So I gave her a high five. And as soon as I smacked it, she goes, I got laid last night. I was like,
was she serious, or was she just screwing with you because you didn't
she was messing with me because that's what I said that she would say. And she's like, no, I don't remember what it actually was, but it was something that I actually was legitimately proud of her for. So
I got an A on my math test. And to celebrate, I got laid last night.
So that was like I remember I was going to spend a weekend with my girlfriend, and one of my other daughters, she was like, so what are you going to do with your girlfriend this weekend? I was like, looking at her like, what?
Well, it's Easter, so we're going to fuck like rabbits. Sorry.
So she's like, so what are you going to do? I was like, what are you going to do? I was like, well, because she was legitimately kind of asking me, but then she realized how it sounded when she asked. Because she was legitimately saying, what are you guys going to do this weekend? But then she realized that it sounded dirty, like as soon as she said it. And I was kind of looked at her and I was like, well, we're going to be doing this and that. She's like, and other stuff. I was like, what other stuff? I mean, we're going to probably play board games. Parcheesi, perhaps, and maybe Chinese checkers. And she's like, okay, whatever.
Nice. That's awesome.
And then after the weekend, she's like, so did you guys play board games this weekend? I was like, I'm not talking about this with you.
No. Yeah. Now, here's the interesting part. Let's pretend like it wasn't your girlfriend, but it was her mom. Betcha she wouldn't have that same cavalier attitude, because the thought of your dad having sex with your mom is always gross to kids.
Well, what I've noticed too, even I've kind of discovered this. Ask around, and listeners, you may get this, but like women, if you were to talk to women and say, think about your mom having sex, and they would go, okay. Now think about your dad having sex, and they're like, ew, like it's gross. Whereas for guys, if I say, think about your mom having sex, and they're just like, think about your dad, and it's just like, that's weird, But it's not as gross as thinking about your mom. I mean, I know it's hard for you to relate to this topic.
Are you trying to tell me it's not gross for me thinking about my mom? I'm lost. No, I'm just kidding. No, I got what you're saying. I think it's all gross, but that's okay.
Right. Yeah, it's all gross. Nothing's pleasant. Nobody wants to see either parent have sex.
Gosh, no. I never have, and I guess I'm pretty much in a situation now I never will. So I'd say you're likely in that same scenario.
I do a lot of your mom jokes to my kids all the time. That's pretty funny, and that's pretty hilarious. And they eventually figured out a good comeback. I mean, it would be simple stuff. Like, I just got a text from them. They're like, who? And I'm like, your mom. Oh, I just kind of jokes with them all the time. And then they finally discovered a good comeback. They're always like, well, you married her. And I'm just like, oh, burn. Yeah.
Nice. All right, man. You ready for another break?
Yeah, it's going to be a long episode.
Yes, it is. Good thing you learned how to finally compress these episodes down so we can do more than 2 a month.
Shut up. So sorry for the delay on this week's episode, everybody.
That's my fault.
But Ron got busy.
No, I was on vacation. Sorry.
On vacation. All right, so let's take a break, and when we come back, what are we talking about?
I don't remember. Oh, yeah. Things we're thankful that our parents introduced us to.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll be back.
Village Idiot Pub. You locals know about it. You guys from out of town have to check them out.
Village Idiot Pub is proud to sponsor Your 40 Now What podcast.
Tach and Ron from Your 40 Now What seem to have found a perfect sponsor. A pub with over 30 beers on tap, including ciders, as well as hundreds of bottle choices.
You forgot my favorite, all the delicious wine. So get your friends together and enjoy the board games, puzzles, and the giant Jenga.
Let the owner, Jason, as well as the rest of the staff there, take excellent care of your beer drinking needs. Tuesday is open mic, Wednesday is trivia, Thursday is karaoke, Friday and Saturday night are live music.
Visit them at 4 Harrison Street, Suite 103, Cocoa, Florida, or Village Idiot Pub on Facebook. And don't forget, they are a dog-friendly location, so bring your friends, family, and fur babies.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the final segment of this episode of Your 40 Now What?
Final segment!
And, nice. We did that so perfectly to the way it actually sounds, we might actually get sued for that.
I know.
We were so great.
I bet you it's going to pick up immediately as
Yeah, they're going to pick it up like we were playing the song.
Like the algorithm, yeah. Well, absolutely.
100%. We're going to get shut down because of that. So if you don't hear about us anymore, it's because we're so amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about something, I guess it could be kind of sentimental. The things that we're very happy our parents or guardians or whoever it was in our lives that reared us introduced us to. Mm-hmm. So I'll start off with this. And again, somehow in this show somewhere we always end up talking about movies. For me, it was my dad and, his love of movies and television, but specifically, I think there's a couple things that if it wasn't for him, I probably would have never attached myself to. And that would be old sci-fi movies, like from the 50s, 60s. Definitely. Let's face it, I probably would have never watched any of them if it wasn't for watching them with my dad over and over and not learned to appreciate them, and I still like them to this day. And Star Trek. I feel like I grew up in a Star Wars world, no doubt. I love Star Wars. It's fantastic. But my love of Star Trek, obviously, with the new Star Trek movies, and Next Generation, I think that helped bring my generation into it. So maybe Next Generation I would have found and still like, which I love too. But classic Star Trek, I know so many people my age that love Star Trek Next Generation and never ever watched classic Star Trek. Haven't seen one episode, weren't interested in it. So I think classic Star Trek and definitely some old sci-fi movies were mine. I can get into those a little bit deeper in a moment if I'd like, but I'd like to hear if there's anything you have, sir.
It's pretty similar. Well, there's a few. Well, I'm going to take each parent separately. I grew up with my mother mostly, but I spent summers at my dad's. But from my mom, I got the love of pretty similar topic, like television. My mother was huge into television, which I picked that up from her too. My girlfriend hates the fact that I love television so much and movies and things like that. Like my girlfriend likes movies much more than television. And but I like a lot of TV, and I think I got that from my mom. And she got me into things like Saturday Night Live. She always watched, and so I watched it all growing up. And it was just other sitcoms and things like that she kind of got me into. And she didn't. I think she may have watched Star Trek, but I never watched it. She loved Next Generation, though. Absolutely. She was majorly hooked on Next Generation.
That was our age, our generation. This 40-somethings right now, late 30s, mid 40s. We're a Next Generation.
Right. I never watched as much as she did, but I am familiar with it a little bit because she watched it so much. Whereas my dad, I'm a lot like my dad. Like my dad he's into music a lot. I got that love of music from him. My dad has actually been a quote podcaster since before podcasting was even around. My dad has always had a setup just like this in the room in whatever house he was living in. There was always something with literally a microphone and this, and then he had he has a huge record collection. He's got just music. He's got a whole stacks of stereo. This is a long time ago when stereos were a thing, and he's always been, over the past probably, I don't know how many years, probably 2 decades at least, he always records. Basically, we're podcasts before podcasts were around, and he would do family stuff. And he would just do he'd record onto a file just about and he would call it KMMR radio is what he called it. It stood for something, and so what he would do is he would kind of give updates, what's going on in the family. He would have family members call in, and he would record conversations. And so he used to. Family members would call in and say, "Oh, what's going on with you?" And they would, "Oh, we're doing this, we're doing that." And he'd also do stupid little silly sketches. He would do voices.
That's awesome.
He would do, and he would add in background noise. He would do, and he also played music. Anyway, he'd take that file and then he would put it onto a CD and would mail it out to all the family,
so
they would
cool.
listen to it. And he still does it to this day. And a few years ago when I first started podcasting, I was like, you need to just do a podcast, even if it's just a private family one, just still do it, And he's like, well, I don't know how do you do that? And I try to explain it to him. And I think he would really enjoy it if I was there to show him how to do it and stuff like that. He even with Get Out Penny cartoons that we do, he watched them. He was like, hey, if you ever need voices for that show, which my dad loves to do voices. He loves to do characters. And so I was like, oh, definitely. Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. So, and he definitely has the equipment to record, and send me a file. So
cool.
That'd be pretty cool to do. So I got that whole love of this kind of stuff from him and just media and things like that.
Just to get a little deeper into my end of it, so obviously I talked about classic Star Trek, which brought me onto the Star Trek movies, and I think the new Star Trek movies are just absolutely phenomenal. So I'm not a snob to some of the people that loves classic Star Trek aren't really getting into some of the new stuff. It's just because it's not Shatner, it's not Nimoy, but
yeah.
I think they're phenomenal.
Shit.
Nice. I think it's phenomenal. Obviously, Next Generation. I instantly wanted to watch Next Generation because I liked classic Star Trek, so that made me love it even more. But I might have discovered that on my own anyway. But the old classic sci-fi movies like Forbidden Planet and This Island Earth is. Oh, I love that movie. I still love that movie so much. Just some of those old classic sci-fi movies were just so much fun to watch. And Chronos and the original Day the Earth Stood Still. And there's just so many of those fun movies I really liked watching. And then one more thing I wanted to add, Andy Griffith. I absolutely positively...
Didn't we talk about Andy Griffith in the last episode?
I think we might have. I still, to this day, love that show, watch that show, enjoy that show. I can sit down and watch it and laugh my ass off. I never would have watched it had it not been for my dad. I never would have been interested in it. I would have been just another old show that I would pass by and not give not pay it any mind. Definitely. But yeah, man, definitely the stuff that our parents kind of gave to us, that there was stuff they were interested in. I think everybody has that kind of stuff, older stuff they're interested in. Mostly they probably got it from their parents. A lot of it might be music. I mean, there could be so many different things, things that mostly you or maybe some of your generation aren't into, you're into because of your parents. I'm sure everybody has something or several things.
Definitely. I agree with that. I never really thought about it until you brought it up to the table, that how much we actually did get, or I personally got from my parents, and it's impressive. I didn't really pay attention to it much.
Yeah, man.
But yeah.
All right. Well,
all right.
We'll wrap things up here.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So, If you want to follow us on any social media, we are on Twitter at You're40NowWhat. And that's all of our social media is the number 40 and not FORTY. So You're40NowWhat at Twitter.
At Twitter. So it's at You're40NowWhat.
Yeah.
And at Twitter.
Twitter.
What the hell?
Yeah.
At the
You're40NowWhat at Twitter? No. If you want to contact us, it is You're40NowWhat at gmail.com. And, of course, there's Facebook as well. And also the YouTube channel at Dichotomy Media LLC Podcasts. There you'll find the other two shows that I do, along with a cartoon series that I just started. And the next episode is going to have one that Ron wrote. So
yes,
look out for episode 4.
And since you're going to be modest and not mention it, I am going to mention it. One of the shows that you do as part of Dichotomy Media, the Twisted 10, did just crack the top 100 iTunes comedy podcasts. The hardest category for the layperson such as us to break into a top 100 because it's filled with, professional comedians, famous celebrities from Corolla to who else did you say? A couple of people that you were above?
Oh, above. We were above one of Kevin Smith's podcasts. We were above the guys from Impractical Jokers, Aisha Tyler.
Yeah, exactly. So go definitely take a listen to the Twisted 10. There's content for everybody in there, and if you go through and just look at the episode titles, you'll get just you'll get what it's all about, and you listen to some episodes, and you'll start to really find content you like and explore from there.
Yeah, and there's an episode in there with you, I think, right?
A couple episodes. One we recently did, and one from a long time ago I did.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Anything else? What are we forgetting?
I don't know. I think you got it, Mike.
All right, cool. Well, I guess check us out next week. And also look out for Get Out Penny episode number 4, written by Ron Canniff.
Sweet.
So, all right, well, I guess that's it.
All right.
All right, for You're40 Now What? And here's going to be our new, what's the word, slogan or catchphrase?
Yeah, whatever.
And here it comes from Ron. He's going to say it right now.
I'm Ron. What are you talking about? What did we discuss?
I just wanted to see how well you can improv something.
Oh,
something like
we did. I was thinking I was not paying attention again. That's me half the time when people are talking. I'm like, oh god, I must have not been paying attention. I didn't think you were gonna maybe say it. I was all listening, like, what's he gonna say?
I was listening to this one podcast real quickly called The Last Podcast on the Left, and it's so funny. In their very first inaugural episode, they're like, okay, and we're gonna come up with our slogan or whatever it is, our catchphrase is. And then one guy was like, he just like made up a word, and he was like, megustulations. He just like made up a word, and they're like, well, all right. And every episode until that, it's been 5 years now. Every episode, megustulations, everyone. Nice. Every single episode. They haven't missed one yet.
I like it.
And so I was just trying to find one. So
yeah, sorry, I had no idea where you're going with that. I was waiting for you to say it till you pointed to me. I'm like, deer in headlights. Deer in headlights. That's it. And for You're40 Now What? Deer in headlights.
Deer in headlights, indeed. All right. Well, have a great day. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. You think he's too old? I got his sister's baskets last year, and they were 17. So I mean, I still think that a little something would be good. I mean, I don't know. So now that I'm done with the story, this is not a bitch session about my ex or anything. This is just more of like
because it kind of sounds. Have you said any of this to your ex yet?
No, I get it. Like if you can't afford it, or if you don't believe that this should happen, then sit them down and talk to them. I haven't gotten anything for my kids in several Valentine's Day, mostly because I don't have them on Valentine's Days. And
do they still believe in Valentine? I'm just kidding. Do they believe in Cupid, or do they know that Cupid doesn't exist?
Yeah. And if I was to have them on a Valentine's Day, I would probably say, look, I'm not really, probably you won't get anything, because Valentine's Day is really more for either little kids or your significant other, really. It's not really, so I probably wouldn't get anything for them anymore anyway, but I would sit them down and explain that to them, And same with Easter. But Easter, if I had them, I would still get them stuff, even if my son was 15, I would probably still get him something for Easter, even if it's just like a little bit of chocolate or something like that, you know. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? I feel like I'm babbling.
No, I got what you're saying there. So I have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. 12-year-old will be 13 here shortly. The 16-year-old, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, me and my wife both told him there was no Santa Claus without speaking to each other about it. Within 5 days, we never discussed it. We never told each other, hey, it's time. We never, for some reason, somehow, some way, we both discussed it. I think she did it first, and then a few days later, I did it. Because we could just tell Logan was getting... He's a smart kid. He's kind of mature that way. And we just figured, this is probably time to tell him. But mostly, I think we were more nervous that he was going to spill the beans to his little sister, who was still of a good age. She was 8 at the time.
So, remember back like in... I guess it was the late 90s? When,
yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, back in the late 90s. I was in the Navy back then, but I used to come to visit on the weekends.
Congratulations. Oh, sorry.
I used to come visit on the weekends, and we'd go out like to the titty bar or whatever, just kind of going out.
Can we call it Exotic Dance Club?
I'm sorry. A gentleman's club.
There you go.
And we go out and hang out, I don't even think we were old enough to drink at this time, which we weren't. So we must have been 18, 19 years old. And you had a paper route, too, that you were doing. Remember all that?
Yes, I did. And I don't even think that was late 90s. I mean, I was 18 in 94, so probably this was like, I guess 96, 97. I guess you consider that late 90s. Yeah, so 96, 97, yeah.
And then, so we'd go out to the gentleman's club. And then we'd stay there till super late until it was time to, and then basically we'd stay out until it was time to do your paper route.
Yes.
So we'd go meet up and like roll the papers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then I remember one time we'd gone out, so I went with you to go on the route, but I was like extremely exhausted and tired and all that. And I remember I'd fallen asleep in your car while you were just continuing doing the paper route.
Because I had a route that most of it you didn't throw from a car. It was mostly condos on the beach, so I had to get out with a bag and go up the elevator to the top floor and then walk all down the flights, dropping the papers off.
Yeah, and I remember one time I was asleep and I kind of woke up and I looked at you had thrown down like this stuffed animal, like this rabbit, like right on my lap, coming back from like an apartment complex you'd just thrown at, and then I look down and I'm like, where did you get that? And you're like, what? And I'm like, this rabbit. This is like a Flopsy Bunny kind of a thing, It's like this floppy rabbit stuffed animal.
Old water park, for those who don't know.
I've never been there, but... So they have like water slides that go right into the tank of Shamu or what?
Right into his mouth.
Right into his mouth. Just like a real trainer.
Now, the only aquatic life you see there is a couple of like porpoises that look like orcas. They're black and white. They're really cool looking.
They're people too. Come on now. There's no need to judge and like
Jesus. And there's a slide that goes through it and it's clear and they make it look like you can just see them, but it's so cloudy you can't see shit and you're going so fast anyway. Wouldn't matter. But beyond that, there's really no wildlife there. It's just a water park. It's literally right across the street from SeaWorld.
Gotcha. Well, I didn't have my kids this year for Easter, so Easter is just one of those things. If I have them, great. If not, then their mom has them for it. There's nothing we really work out with Easter. Same with like Valentine's Day. But this year, I sent my kids like texts first thing Sunday morning, saying Happy Easter, And then my son had texted back saying that he didn't get anything. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I was like, what do I say to that,
Well, does he still believe in Santa Claus?
I don't. I've never sat him down and said that there's no such thing, but I think he's at that point. What I've noticed usually is what kids do is that they figure out on their own or through friends or whatever, and then they still keep it going for the parents.
Yeah.
I've noticed it's about a year or so they let it keep going. So when you finally tell them, they're like, yeah, we've known for like since last year, But we know it's fun for you, Mom and Dad, So
I guess I have to agree because I still don't know that whether my daughter believes in Santa Claus or not. So we're still keeping up this facade. She might have stopped believing like 3 years ago. I have no idea.
Yeah, I would definitely just sit him down because it's less stress too. So I kind of felt bad. I was like, and then so his sister texted me, oh, Happy Easter, and I was like, and I said, did your mom really not get you guys anything? And then of course she was like, I don't know, I haven't been home, so because she was like stays at her boyfriend's house, and she's like, but I don't think she did just because of money and stuff like that, and she thinks that my son is too old, and he also has a little brother that she has that my ex had with her current boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And the other one's too young, so she just didn't bother with it. And I was like, okay, I get the money issue thing, I got that, but I mean, the only thing that what bothers me a little bit about is not sitting him down and talking to him and saying, look, here's the truth on Easter, the Easter bunny, and blah blah blah, and money is really tight right now, so you're probably not going to get anything. And I just want you to know, so not to expect it and stuff like that, And I hope you understand, kind of a thing. Which that conversation never happened with him. So he was really upset that there was no Easter basket on Easter morning, and there wasn't, and I felt bad for him. And so I texted his mom, actually she had texted me, and so I just kind of brought it up, and he was like, she actually texted me complaining that he was like, where's my Easter stuff, And so she took that as like him being like
selfish.
Selfish.
Greedy,
like,
what have you.
Yeah. So I was like, well, you have to get it. Like, he's gotten something every Easter, and when one Easter nothing happens, of course he's going to ask questions, Unless you sat him down and talked to him and explained, of course he's going to ask. And so
this is what I got from the Easter bunny.
Nice.
Little chocolate bunny here, buddy.
The little footballs.
Laces out.
So, and she's like, well, I didn't get anything for them last year. I was like, well, I got you, but I had them on Easter last year, and I did get them stuff, I don't care. Well, and they throw it on my lap. I was like, what did you, like, find this on the floor? And he just kind of threw it, like, here, this is for you, buddy. I'm like, I was like, where did you get that? And you're like, what? I was like, the rabbit. You're like, what are you talking about? and then I kind of woke up a little bit more and looked down, and it was your bag from the paper.
It was just an empty bag. That's all it was.
It's just empty. For some reason, half asleep, it just looked like this floppy bunny. Maybe the way it was laid on my lap or something.
Did you? I remember you. The only part of this I remember is you saying, "Where did you get that?" It's like, what? What are you talking about? It's hilarious.
So funny. It's funny because we weren't under the influence of anything at all except just no sleep, and that was it. I was just so tired.
We were under the influence of fatigue.
You're listening to Your 40. Now what? Getting closer to early bird dinners, but still not quite ready to grow up. So hike up your pants, sip your latte, and get ready for the show. And now, the hosts of Your 40, Now What? Tach and Ron.
All right, well, welcome everybody to another episode of Your 40, Now What? I am Ron.
And I am Tach.
And today we'll have some more delightful subjects for you. I don't think anything too serious.
No,
mostly a bunch of fun stuff.
Day. It's a light day.
No, yeah, it's a light day. No death or major illness to discuss today.
No, not today. But
sorry
recently
about that.
Recently, we just had Easter. Did you have a good Easter?
I did. I went to Aquatica, and that's in Orlando. It's a SeaWorld